welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Throne Liberty as it just released in Korea. This is my second video on the game, as I did a review type video where I broke down my experience playing the game during the first technical test, the Korean beta technical test, and that one was not so good, but they have actually updated the game a lot since then, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts after playing and no-lifing the game over the past couple of days. Now, we do have a sponsor for this video, a Starforge PC sponsor, so we're going to hop into that, and I'll see you guys back here at the video. What's going on, you guys? A lot of you know that I've recently been sponsored by Starforge PCs, which is pretty exciting for me because I've always really been into tech and building PCs. I think I built my first PC when I was like 11 years old. And then from there, I went on to build all of my friends' PCs. It was just something that a hobby that I had. And traditionally, I actually wasn't the biggest fan of pre-built PCs because a lot of the parts that they use, at least used in the past, were like off-brand parts, whether it be like the motherboard, the RAM, the power supply. And typically, the build quality isn't the greatest. But in regards to Starforge, all of the parts are listed on their website from notable companies, and you can just kind of add it up to see how much everything actually costs. Additionally, the build quality in my PC is honestly better than I could do in terms of the cable management, right? It's done so well. It feels as if like one of my friends built it or I built it myself. So if you are someone that is looking for a new PC, but you don't want to go through picking out all of the parts yourself or putting it together because that's overwhelming for you, I honestly can't really recommend Starforge enough. From my experience working with them, they just seem like a bunch of guys and girls that are really passionate about what they do. So link down there if you're interested, and I will see you guys back in the video. Peace. All right, so as mentioned, this is my second video on the game. And when I last played this game, it was getting kind of review bombed everywhere. And that was due to the auto farming and combat of the game. You probably saw a ton of videos online. You probably saw my friend Nico with the little clown hat and the nose, and maybe you didn't see all of that. But I had actually played the game a lot, more than most people for some reason, because when all of the drama and controversy was coming out about the game, it drove me to want to play the game more, because in some fucked up way, I like playing games that no one else likes to play. And I decided to keep playing the game to see if the game had anything good to offer, despite being seen as a auto-farming mobile game. And to my surprise, at that time, there was actually a lot of things that the game had done really well, but a lot of people weren't able to make it past some of the negatives. Then all of that was seen by NCSoft, which is the developer for this game, and they had come out and said they're going to correct all of these things, and they heard player feedback. Well, the NDA Western beta happened, and I saw some undisclosed footage from a couple of my friends that I won't say who. And the footage looked way different than when I had played. So I was like, okay, I gotta play the game on the Korean launch to see if it's any better. And to my surprise, the game is completely different. I don't know what they did. I don't know who they hired. I don't know who didn't sleep. But like everything that I had complained about at that time, I was right here at this area in the game, and I said, you need to fix so many different things if you want this game to be seen as a PC MMORPG. And I thought there was zero shot they could do that. Well, they fixed almost all of it. I mean, it is night and day difference from what I had played a few months ago, and I played it a lot. The first thing let's talk about is the combat. The combat is significantly better than when I last played. I mean, it is night and day difference. Before, there was no movement in any of the skills, and you lacked a lot of AoE. I've played so many MMOs this year, by the way. Okay, I have played, you guys know I play Lost Ark. I am playing the current season of Dragonflight. I am playing SOD, or Season of Discovery. I played MapleStory, a ton of Black Desert Online. Did I say that? Blue Protocol. I mean, I've played literally every MMO on the market this year. And this does not feel that bad. Now, if you're someone that only plays Black Desert Online for the combat and that's why you play it, you're not going to like this game because all you care about is combat. And I totally get it. But the way that a lot of your skills work now and how they interact and how you acquire them, whereas before it was completely different. You had to craft them. It took forever. Right now, I'm currently using the Great Sword, and I had mentioned this in my previous video that there was surprisingly a lot of depth to how some of the skills work and interact with each other. It's a weapon-based game, so you get to choose 2 weapons, similar to New World, and you get to make some synergies based off of that. So right now I'm using a Great Sword dagger setup. This shout out to my friend Cannon, who kind of gave me this build. And the way that this build works is it's all about critting. So you upgrade your skills through acquiring different mats and stuff like that in the game. It's pretty easy to do. And as you upgrade them, they rank up and they gain bonus effects. So like it goes from a green skill to a blue rank, and then the blue rank adds like an extra swing to the attack, or it adds a modifier, or does something a little bit more unique. And in this build, you have an ability called Stunning Blow, which just stuns the target. And then you have some passive traits that increases your crit hit to targets that are stunned. And then you have a skill called Death Blow, where you deal bonus damage to targets that are stunned. So then you go into some daggers and you find passives through daggers that increase your critical hit, just baseline, which is awesome. And then you have another passive that you unlock later that when you apply a poison modifier to your weapon, it gives you additional critical hit. So it's a free crit modifier. So basically you want to stun something, a mob, a target, and then just blow it up in a stun, and you deal way more damage. So there's actually a decent bit of depth behind some of your skills, and the combat does feel better. However, it starts pretty shitty. I also quickly want to talk about the progression speed. So last time, right now I'm 33 and I've taken about a day and a half off. I just got back home. I was spending the past few days with my family, and it gave me time to think about the game. And the last time I had played, it took me about 4 days to get to level 20. Level 50 is the max level. And I left my PC on like I was Bitcoin mining, right? I was doing the autoplay, which by the way, if you're wondering, they removed the autoplay. I was farming it up, bro. I was leaving that shit on when I was going to take a dump. I was going to the bath, showering, go to the grocery store. I was playing myself. I was leveling. I was trying to get so much experience. I was trying to craft skills. It took forever. They've completely reduced all of that. And now it's so much easier to progress and acquire a lot of what you need compared to before. And behind that time-gated leveling was an MSQ that was surprisingly good. And I'd said that before. I'm like, it's weird because the game is like this. It felt like a mobile game in some aspects, but then it visually looked so good. And then there was all this effort that was placed in weird areas like the crafting and the MSQ. The MSQ is like all voice acted with a ton of different cutscenes, whether they be animated cutscenes, in-game cutscenes, or actual cinematic kind of cutscenes. They even have Balthor, or the voice actor for Balthor from Lost Ark, the Korean Balthor, in the game, and he's a dwarf in the game, and it's like a whole music video. It's a decent MSQ compared again to most games that I have played this year. Now, I quickly want to say straight up, and I don't know if I've mentioned this so far, but I do want to talk about this idea that the game is not going to be for everyone. And I got to be careful as I'm talking about a lot of these things, because I don't want this to be another, this game respects your time, version 2. I'm not saying, you know what I mean? I know how, I'm aware, right? But I have had a decent time playing the game. And I think more so of what I want to get across in this video is not that I think this game's fucking amazing or anything like that. It's that I'm surprised at how much the game has improved in such a short amount of time since I last played it. With that being said, I don't think the game is going to be for everyone. This game, I think, does a good job at balancing old school MMO feel, where there's a lot of open world, there's no loading screens, you're going around, the world feels pretty alive, you're often encourage a group of players, while having some of the luxuries of a more modern MMO, especially with travel times and things like that. Getting around the game feels pretty good. You can jump off cliffs. And then it also incorporates if you gotta go, you have to go turn in a quest, or there's an NPC somewhere, he might be on a mountain or a building, which there's no way to get up to that building normally. You have to either find a cliff to jump off of, or you gotta wall hop your way up. There's some things about the game that just give it that old school feel. As far as the PvE content goes, there's a few things that I did want to show you guys. First of all, I want to talk about the world bosses and the itemization there. As mentioned earlier, this game completely revolves around being in a group and being in a guild. You have to be in a guild. If you're not into the idea of that, I don't know how you're going to play the game. which again, it could be a pro or a con. But in this game, you have a guild hall, and there are a decent bit of world bosses that you are going to have to either unlock with your guild, or the server is going to have to progress through to unlock. So as you can see, there are these different world bosses. There's a ton of them to go through, and then your guild unlocks the ability to specifically go and do that world boss in an instanced environment. And they drop like unique loot that's like named loot, which I kind of can appreciate. Like if you played a lot of old World of Warcraft, like there were certain items that everybody knew the name of. This game kind of offers that, and they also offer like cool, like unique effect. Additionally, there's also dungeons that exist in the game. So you may have heard that there's these open world dungeons in the game, which there are that are available during certain times of the day, but there's also these secret instance dungeons that you can do. So there's these 1v1 boss encounters that I talked about the last time. These are pretty fun. I actually enjoyed them. Sometimes they feel a little jank when you get to the fight. Get used to the fight. They're fun. But these dungeons that I was able to do, the first one at level 30 was, again, surprisingly really good. I have done a lot of dungeons. I've done a lot of terrible dungeons. I've done a lot of good dungeons. These are pretty good, especially for early dungeons. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which I think 7 of them are at max level dungeons. And the bosses actually have mechanics. There's targets that you have to CC, otherwise they do party-wide damage. There's stacking mechanics where you have to group up with teammates, and it feels pretty good for a new MMORPG. Despite all of that, this game is actually not being received well, or at least too well. The launch has not been received too well in the Korean market, and that has nothing to do actually with any like server issues or anything like that. It's just that a lot of people have had some bad experiences with NCSoft, and a lot of you may be wondering about the monetization of the game. Well, I'll just say this: if you were hoping that this game is not going to be pay to win, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, you guys. It's an Eastern MMO, man. You know what I'm talking about, boys. You know what I'm saying? But yes, the game is pay to win, you guys. The marketplace, you can straight up just buy. Like, the way that this works, to summarize it very quickly, is this marketplace kind of works like Warframe a little bit. It's almost like a real money auction house in that all of these items, you guys, that are posted, like a player posted, this weapon that they got from a world boss or whatever. They posted it, and this currency is called Lucent. That is cash shop currency. So that player is able to post the item on the marketplace, and somebody can buy it with cash shop currency, right? That player that posted that item gets cash shop currency that they can spend on things on the marketplace, or they could buy things from the cash shop. And so it goes two ways. Some people might look at that system and go, "Wait, that's great. That means I can get cash shop currency by just playing the game, and I don't have to spend any money in the game if I don't want to, and I can buy things on the cash shop." That's true. Somebody could also look at this system and go, "Hey, that's really pay to win." That is also true. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not sure how they're going to, the battle pass is also a little pay to win. I'm sure Amazon will do some things to adjust it and make it a little bit more westernized or so, but I assume the game will still be pay to win. I guess it's just going to depend how much you can tolerate and how much it actually affects the game in the long run. Regardless of all of that being said, I think they've done a pretty good job fixing a lot of the issues that players had the first time I had played this game. And I think it is one of the better, at least intro experiences I've had in an MMORPG this year. I don't know how they did it, but they did. I'm not saying the game respects your time. Please. Okay, I have to live with that shit every day. Please. I'm just saying I had a good time playing the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do a full review on the game if I continue to play it. And I'll see you all in the next one.